Good afternoon. My name is Peter Barendse and I'm working for the Netherlands Institute for Sport and Physical Activity. And yes, I have to find which button it is. I was asked to talk with you about innovation in sport. And actually I thought I can summarize what we do in our institute to 3 words. And that's not the 3 words here, but the innovation in our institute always starts with connections. So we build connections between people and organizations. I will show you later. The second one, important in innovation, is adaptation. So in the connection between different worlds, we try to see who needs what. And only then the innovation starts, because then we really try to do something together. But maybe first something about NISB, Netherlands Institute for Sport and Physical Activity. We are a knowledge and innovation institute, and we aim mainly at increasing health, participation and quality of life through sports. So we are not a typical sport member organization. We don't have members. We are a knowledge and innovation institute. We are about 100 people, and we are located in the center of the Netherlands, and we do all kind of programs with elderly, young people, but also on local levels. As I said, we work on health, but also on participation and quality of life. What we notice, however, is that overweight and other health issues, they seem to overtake a bit. So it has a focus, but we think at the same time we should not forget sport, the value of sport itself. I will explain later what I mean with multi-layer approach. But it is something we find very important. It has to do with the connections between national strategies and local opportunities. I will give you some examples, maybe not 4, maybe 5, maybe 3, depends on the time. Let's make it 3. And I will say something about international exchanges we try to encourage. Well, this is just a picture. It will look familiar to you maybe. It's in many countries. Obesity is a huge problem. But at the same time, we see that in one way or the other in the Netherlands, we manage to have an increasing level of people being active. This is not only sport, but this is people being active. So it means in sport, but also walking the dog. So what is this connection I'm talking about? In our institute, we really believe that it's important to bring together in every project you do all the participants, all the stakeholders that are dealing with that issue. So that means, and other people here have been talking about it, we work together with media partners, but also with the cure sector. We work together with hospitals. We have programs in hospitals where we try to encourage doctors. So let the doctor decide what is the problem with the child or the older person. But from there, it's not always the doctor who knows what to do with it. He has an idea, but the doctor doesn't know which sport clubs are around in his city. So how can he know? The sport clubs will never go to the doctor. Hey doctor, we are a sport club. And if you have a problem with a child that's not moving enough, that's getting overweighted, how can the doctor know that he has to send the child to the sport clubs? Maybe it crosses his mind, but he doesn't know if the sport club has the right quality, offers the right activities for this person. So we think that it's important that we bring together universities, but also municipalities, so policy makers, research institutes. We have to bring everybody together, both on a national, probably also on an international level, but also on a local level. We have to help the local municipalities to make a social map of the situation there. Because the sports sector and the sport for all sector, neither the doctor or the school system, nobody can solve the problems alone that we are having in our modern world. That's what we think. Another aspect of the multi-layer approach is that we are working through professionals. So in my profession, I'm a program manager of youth. To be honest, there are many weeks that I don't talk to young people. Luckily, some of my colleagues are young people, but we work with the professionals. At the same time, these professionals can be the people working with the young people, but they should also be the professionals in the municipality level. They should be the people deciding in the municipality, and I understood many of you are working for municipalities, making the policies. It's important that the activities get a place in the policies. We work with programs. We have programs designed for certain target groups, but they are still possible to adapt on a local level. So we don't decide from our institute, you have to do it this way or the other way. It's more like we give the ideas. We have half fabrics, as we call it. So we don't tell them you have to work like this or like that, but we help them to make it possible. In our campaign that we had in the Netherlands, 30 minutes of exercise, we used mass media, but that's more to raise awareness, because that's the first step. Raise awareness amongst the big public and amongst the professionals. But the professionals and the multipliers have to do it at the end. So, coming back to where I started, we connect people on all levels. National level, local level, regional level, and now we also try it on international level. We have researchers, we have policymakers, and we have professionals, people working with the end target group. And that makes programs much more effective. So we try to work on cooperation between people from different sectors. This is a picture of the former, no, it's already two prime ministers, no, this is the former prime minister, yes. Where we managed to have a big influence on different types of policies on a national level. And still, this is some years ago, we still see the effect of this campaign. We worked with the policymakers and they started to understand that sport and physical activity is good for people. Last week, there came two important notes from the new government. And what you see is that they cut down a lot of funds for active lifestyle. But physical activity and sport is one of the only ones that is either, well, I cannot call it growing, but at least it doesn't go down so much. Let's say many of the lifestyle issues are going down like this, but physical activity and sport are on this level, and we are still hopeful that it might even be more or less on the same level. So in these times of, well, let's not talk about it too much, of difficult financial situations all over Europe, because it's in all countries, it is quite an asset if you manage to keep your issue more or less on the same level. This is how we do it. I can talk about this for hours, but we can do that later. But this is the basis. We connect theory with practice and policy. So we know, we work with researchers, so we know what works. We work with policymakers, so we know what is the vision and the strategy. But most important, we want to know that it works in practice. Sorry that it's in Dutch. But we know that we have to know it works in practice, because it should not be only research. It should not only be policy. We have to bring the people and those sectors together. Now some examples. And about each of these examples you can also talk for hours, but I'm not going to do that. This example is it's close to what I said earlier. We built local networks, and here it says at the end of 2010 there were 160 municipalities in the Netherlands, and we have about 400, where a local network is established over the last years. It will be more at the end of this year, I don't know exactly how many, but what you see is that it starts with a general practitioner, a doctor, but also a dietist and a lifestyle advisor and a physiotherapist. Those people, they know that they exist, but they do not always have the clear link between each other, especially not, now I have to be careful that I don't fall, if you also want to attract the sports sector. Because where should people go? They should not stay in the medical system all the time. We try to bring them as soon and quick as possible to sport clubs. from the doctor to the sport club, the doctor to the sport club. But this is a long road. It can be 100 meters to walk. But if you don't know the way, it is still a long way. And if the sport club doesn't know how to deal with people with overweight or diabetes, nothing is happening. Because if the sport club is not aware of special training programs or another attitude, because the people who do not sport, they have a different, well, mentality is a big word, but they have a different idea on what it is, a sport club. So we have to help, on the one hand, the doctor, and on the other hand, the sport clubs, and all the steps in between. How to get them from here to there. And I think that's innovation. Every time again, on all the 160 locations, because it's not a blueprint. Because every city, Amsterdam, it works different than Rotterdam. And we have to see how can it work from city to city. This is another one. This is about empowering the people in the community. I think Wolfgang talked about it. The community, that is where it happens. We have to bring together the people. It can be the youth worker or the social worker, because this person knows the lower set start. This person knows what's happening in certain groups, and we have to have this person to train together with others to get people to a sport club or to become active. So it's again, we have to connect. We have to connect people on a local level, and we have to explain, or we have to teach them how can they help people to become and to stay active. That is the important thing. And there we have to adapt maybe the offer of the sport club. We have to adapt, because to the regular sport is not open. Not everybody feels happy in a competitive sport. So we have to see and to talk to the sport clubs. Hey, we have here this group of immigrant women. They are 20. They want to do something. How can you help them to be active in your sport? And that's innovation. You see, I skipped already one, because from example 2 we go to 4. This has been a huge program in the Netherlands. The 10 largest sport federations in the 10, let's say, largest cities, they have carried out a huge program over the last 5 years to include more young people with an other background. It can be immigrants, it can be from a lower social economical status. But what does have to happen in a sport club to attract these young people? You have to have an adapted offer. You have to have another game. You have to play, maybe not in the sport field, but on the street. And in this program, we have experimented and innovated 10 very successful ways to adapt these sports to what these young people want. So we connect the municipality with the sport club, and these two partners again with this target group. So we have new connections on a local level, and the sport club thinks, how can we get these people in and how we can keep them in? And in 5 years, it's not 21,000, it's 27,000. That were the latest figures. So we managed to have 27,000 new members in only these 10 cities, and that is a huge accomplishment. So again, we connect and we adapt the offer of sport clubs, and then we innovate. What can we do to keep them? Because we were happy, sometimes it's good to be happy with yourself, we were happy with that project. We have now an international project with 8 partners where we try to share with other countries. How can we include people with another background into sports? So we exchange knowledge and information on that. We have a network, a virtual network. I will later, if there's time, let me think. I can give you the internet address and you can follow what we are doing there if you're interested in that. One last example I want to mention. This is a bit a different one. We connected with the Olympic Committee, with the city of Eindhoven, and with some smaller technology partners. And we started something which is called Inno Sport Lab. It means Innovation Sport Laboratory for sport and physical activities. And what is happening? Actually, there's a sport compound in the north of the city of Eindhoven. And Eindhoven was this week declared as the most smart region of the world. I'm not from there, by the way. But they say it's the most, Philips comes from there. There's a lot of technical research. So in this region, in this laboratory, we bring 15 innovative projects together. And every project has to have at least 3 partners: a knowledge institute, a sport organization, and a business partner. And this is interesting to see what's happening then. For me, it's sometimes difficult to understand what's happening there, because the business partner, I think Wolfgang said it, it's not, as for we from the sports sector, we don't always understand what they want. They want something else. And they want to make products and things, and maybe a light, and or they want to make this because they can sell it. But on the other hand, it gives a very interesting boost to the way we have to think about what do we do with the sport. And because there's the knowledge and the sport and always the business partner. You have to rethink the way you're doing with sport. This is quite new, so I don't have results. We have 15 projects going on there, and they differ from, one project is about, how do you call it, a tennis racket. And there's one company, they want to make it heated, so you can also play tennis in the winter with cold hands. And then I think, wow, is that also innovation I should be involved with? Okay, but maybe I can learn from it. And another project there is that we have 3 communities where live 1,000 families, and these 1,000 families are followed now for 3 years with a very sophisticated program of daily sport and physical activities. And in 3 years we will know what is the outcomes. Did they change their lifestyle? Do they live more healthy? Are they more active? Maybe if there are more sport forums, I can come back to the results of this, maybe in a year or 2. But it's interesting to follow. Just the last word on, as I said, we work mainly on the national level. Since a couple of years, we are also interested to work much more together on a European and worldwide level. That's also why we are here now. So we are open for cooperation. We see that the approach that we choose in the Netherlands and the way our institute is working as a connector between sectors is interesting for people from also other countries. We had visits from some countries. Well, I mentioned them here, but there are more people who want to know what is happening there. But we can also learn from other countries. So we are open for that. If you have ideas, please don't hesitate to contact me. I would like to mention that in 2011, in 2 years' time, we will organize the Tafisa World Congress. So of course you are more than welcome to see there. Maybe then I can tell you a bit more about this InnoSport Lab outcomes, for example. And another thing is to mention is that in October this year we will host the HEPA conference. That's a conference on health enhancing physical activities. Just to summarize once more with the 3 words I mentioned, we connect, we try to adapt sport offers, and then we try to innovate. That's what I wanted to talk with you about. I don't know if there are questions, maybe now, maybe later. I know. But thank you very much.